All right, good evening, everybody. Let's see who's out there for this week's check-ins for the weekly net. ZS6 OPS standing by.
ZS6 Sierra, November Yankee. No traffic at the moment. Good evening to everybody else listening.
Okay, evening there, Adrian, and I got 6 GRG up on Zoom. I wonder if you're going to come up on Zoom, Adrian.
While returning, it reports that you've got another meeting going. I'll try again.
I got the normal meeting going there, Adrian, so I don't know why it's telling you that. George is up, so perhaps try it again. Let's have a look and see if there are any other check-ins while Adrian tries that. ZS6 OPS still standing by. Okay, let's check. Anybody else out there for this week's weekly net? ZS6 OPS standing by. All right, second last call for check-ins, ZS6 OPS. Adrian, are you winning over?
ZS6 is returning negative. It just say that you're busy with another meeting. Maybe I should pick it up from a different point. Just send it to me on WhatsApp again, please.
All right, stand by. I'll send it to you on WhatsApp quickly again. Let's see. Are there any other check-ins? ZS6 OPS standing by. All right, second last call for check-ins. ZS6 OPS standing by. All right, good stuff, Adrian. Looks like you're up, and we'll do last call for check-ins. I've got another check-in too as well in 10 minutes, so we're going to push ahead. Any further call-ins, check-ins for this week's net? ZS6 OPS standing by.
Zoom sharing between multiple hosts is not easy. It now wants to go to the other host all the time.
Okay, nothing else heard. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's weekly net. I have not done the storyboard, so I'm going to wing it and go cold turkey on this one. Firstly, it is Sunday, the 26th of March, 2023. The time is 19:05. Zoom is open. For those of you that don't have Zoom, please feel free to contact me on 082-859-2684. At least if you don't have the Zoom link, and I will send the link through to you with the greatest of pleasure. I'd like to remind everybody that this net runs every Sunday evening at 1900, starting at 1900, allowing 5 minutes for check-ins, and then we kick off with unpacking whatever info I might in actual fact have available. For those of you that have not checked in, and for all the listeners, please be advised that you do not need permission to use the net or the repeater or any of the amateur bands, you are more than welcome to check in and call in and participate. You do not need to get anybody's permission to use any of the amateur bands. The only thing that is required of you naturally is your ECRN license. That being said, I'd just like to continue with the evening's net by stating that with the tracking having come to an end with regards to COVID-19, we're not going to unpack COVID-19 as in the depth that we have been doing for the last 3 years. I will only look at the South African figures, which at this stage ending the 5th of March. I see that there is no update as yet, which is a bit strange. Just looking at week 11. Okay, the figures up until the 12th of March. Actually, this week there's a slight increase of about 40 odd new cases above the previous week. This week, South Africa is reporting 2,050 new COVID-19 cases. As mentioned previously, the death toll is definitely not being recorded or at least being published, so I unfortunately cannot give you any of the figures in that aspect. Okay, ZS6OPS returning. Now, moving on to MPOX, our figures as at the 22nd of March is now standing at 86,658, which is somewhere in the region of about 150 odd new cases compared to the previous week. Moving on to measles. Our measles figures have taken a little bit of a spike this week. We are up well over the 50 mark. We're currently now sitting at 844 cases. This last week, week 11, naturally being the previous week's figures, is standing at 19, which is fortunately a lot lower than the previous week of 56. But the adjusted figures for the previous weeks definitely have escalated well above 50 new cases per week on measles. So measles is something that we still need to watch out for. Okay, ZS6OPS returning, and that's basically the figures at this point. There isn't very much else to report on worldwide. It seems like everything seems to be quiet and stable and all the rest of it. Although I must admit certain parts of South Africa have been subjected, Port St. John in particular, and the Laingsburg area have been subjected to some very serious flooding during the course of this week. And that was probably as a result of the change in the weather conditions that the Cape coastline has been subjected to. I know that several lives were lost and there's extensive damage and all the rest of it. I think we'll have to wait and see probably in the next day or two more accurate figures will in actual fact come through. So outside of that, not much else to report. And for the benefit of the radio amateurs, please remember you need to at least pay up your ECRN license by the end of this month in order to be valid from next month. And on that point, I'd like to remind the radio amateurs that if you do create, or when you do create your own login on the ECRN portal using your ID book and details, any licenses that are being managed by any other parties, institutions or otherwise will automatically reflect under your own personal login, whereby you can take control of your own licensing and are not reliant on anybody else. For those that definitely do need the assistance, yes, it is recommended that you have a third party. Anybody else, it doesn't really make a difference who of your choosing to manage your licensing for you. But of course, you are liable for your own payment, which you should make directly to ECRN. And of course, whoever is going to manage your license, provide them proof of payment. And I do know that via credit card, that does become a little bit on the difficult side. If you do pay via credit card, you know, you've got to make your own copies, etc., etc. However, using the license in the online portal itself, if you pay by credit card, you could be downloading your license, whether a 1 or 5 year, doesn't make a difference, or anything in between. You can be downloading it literally within minutes of the credit card payment. So that being said, I just want to check and see if there are any other late check-ins, and I'll add you to the list. Please go ahead with your call sign now. ZS6OP is standing by. Okay, nothing else heard. Thank you very much. Again, just remember that you're more than welcome to check in. And of course, as COVID-19 hasn't ended, the pandemic hasn't ended, there are still people being affected. I'd like to just remind you to distance yourself around the elderly, wear a mask around the elderly, and of course, sanitize your hands on a regular basis regardless. For the benefit of those who might in actual fact lose their lives if they do contract COVID. That being said, for the next week ahead, be safe, be prepared, and of course, be happy. This is ZS6OPS releasing 145.625 for general use. Cheers all. What?